Why hello there, and welcome back to Tabletop Ferox. And in this episode, I will be looking at Cozy Town, which is a little unusual even by the standards of this series, as it is a cozy town simulation game in the vein of Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley, which may seem like something of an odd thing to base a tabletop role-playing game on, but let's be honest here, it's not even close to the most unusual thing I've covered, so I guess let's get into it. The game begins with all of the players collaboratively defining the cozy town that the story will be about. Something like a tropical island filled with anthropomorphic animals, or a magical garden with living plants, or, I don't know, tardigrades living on an asteroid traveling along a celestial rainbow. Something, something cute like that. Defining things like the town's features, events that may occur, the neighbors, and so on and so on. Then the actual gameplay involves basically describing the events for a week in your cozy town. The active player drawing a card and then consulting a table which has two different events for each card that may be drawn. So let's say that it is summer because there is a different table for each season, and that we have drawn a 2. That would mean that either the circus is in town, or two of the townspeople have had some kind of misunderstanding. Then the player chooses one of those two things and describes it happening. And then after that, either a feature of the town grows or changes, one of the town's neighbors comes to visit, or the town begins preparing for an event. Then after that, it moves on to the next player and the next week, and so on and so on and so on until you decide that it's time to stop playing. And I would just like to draw some special attention to the events, because it is kind of interesting the way it works, because you don't just say, oh, the roller skate festival happens. You have to determine how long it's going to take to prepare for whatever event, in this case, the roller skate festival. So if you decide that it's going to take 3 weeks, then over the next 3 weeks and 3 turns, the town is going to be preparing for the festival. So it makes it a thing that is much more built up to in-game and in-story, like an actual, event would be in real life. They don't just happen, you go, oh boy, the roller skate festival's coming up. I guess I'd better, oil my roller skate wheels. I don't actually know how you would prepare for a roller skate festival, so probably that. And that is what the game is and how you play it. But now, what do I think of it? Overall, it is a very interesting idea. Making a tabletop game in the vein of Animal Crossing really doesn't seem like an obvious or easy thing to do. The vast majority of games, even those that do not rely on or even feature combat, still rely on some form of conflict for the story, even if that is as abstract as the characters versus the world they are exploring. But this game does not rely on conflict in any meaningful way. Like, there can be conflict in the game, but based on how it is set up, you would introduce and then resolve the conflict for story reasons rather than being a narrative hurdle to advance the plot. It is one of those things where the term storytelling game is much more appropriate than role-playing game, as it is just a story being told collaboratively by the entire group and very much from a bird's eye view. There are no characters that you play as, there are just characters that exist in the story. And even then, it is a very non-traditional story that is being told in the game, focusing on an entire town and just things going on there instead of, adventurers going and seeking the scroll of truth or something like that. And an Animal Crossing tabletop role-playing game is a very tall order, and the result is very different, but I think the important question is, does it do the thing it is supposed to do? And I think the answer here is yes. It is a system that facilitates telling a warm, cozy story about a little cozy town with your friends, and I assume that is the goal of the game. I assume that's what they were going for. And honestly, I am not sure if there is a better or even a worse way to accomplish that same goal. The book itself is also appropriately adorable, with pastel colors and very cute art and a very intentional computer-themed layout design. Although one very small complaint, I really would have liked it if the scroll bar on the side had actually, gone down as you scrolled through the book. And that was Cozy Town, a game that personally I think I might be more than a little too cynical for, but if you are still capable of feeling warm and cozy feelings and like these kinds of video games, then you might enjoy this game as well. It is, as I keep saying, a very different thing. And thank you for watching, with extra special thanks to my Fightin' Flail Snails, Samuel Gorski, and Randy Mulholland. If you'd like to be cool like them, check out my Patreon, where you can get early access to videos and fun stuff that I make for the Patreon. Also, there's a Ko-fi. You can give me money there if you want, but if you don't want to do any of that stuff, that's cool too. You can still hit all the lovely buttons, like, subscribe, these other videos that either myself or the cold, heartless YouTube algorithm have lovingly selected for you, which I am sure are lovely videos that you will also enjoy. And I will see you next time.